On this question, we want to match the graph with the given functions. So our choices are the square function, the square root function, reciprocal function, cube root function, absolute value function, identity function, cube function, or constant function. So I know immediately which function this goes with, but I'm going to go through each one of these functions and give you a sketch of the graph. The square function refers to f of x equals x squared and has a graph of a parabola. The square root function is f of x equals square root x, and this graph is half of a sideways parabola. So it looks something like this, the top half of a sideways parabola. The reciprocal function is referring to 1 over x, and it has a graph that looks something like this. The cube root function is f of x equals cube root of x, and is a little bit long horizontally. It goes through the origin, kind of has a little squiggle in the middle. The absolute value function is referring to f of x equals absolute value of x, and this graph has a V-shaped graph. The identity function is f of x equals x, and this is a linear function going through the origin. Cube function is f of x equals x cubed. I'll go ahead and draw this over here. The cube function is going to look very similar to the cube root function, except that this function is much longer vertically than it is horizontally in the cube root. The constant function is f of x equals b, where b is a constant. And the graph of a constant is a horizontal line at the value of b. So the function that this matches is the square root function. And I'll take a moment to go into a little bit of detail about this square root function. F of x equals square root of x. We can find the graph of this function, if you don't have it memorized, by plotting points. And when I plot points, I'm going to choose some values that are easy to find the square root of. So I'm going to start with 0. I'm not choosing any negative values because the square root of a negative gives you imaginary numbers. So I'm starting with 0 and 1, and then I'm going to jump to 4 because 4 is easy to take the square root of. And then I'll choose 9 as well. The square root of 0 is 0, the square root of 1 is 1, the square root of 4 is 2, and the square root of 9 is 3. And I'll plot these ordered pairs on a coordinate plane. I have 0, 0, 1, 1, 4, 2, and 9 and 3. And hopefully you see why we chose this function as the one to match this graph. We have our square root graph here. Thank you for checking out my videos. Have a great day.